week's episode of the Paranormal Party Podcast with Renata Daniel from Newcastle Ghost Tours and Anne Rekovich from Oz Paratech. We'll be sharing stories, interviews and lots of interesting things about all that is happening in our paranormal world. Thanks for joining us. Grab your glass of wine, sit down, relax, and enjoy this episode.
Hello, friends.
Hello, mortals.
Welcome to the Seance Parlour
And the Paranormal Party Podcast.
with Anne.
And Renata. Oh. And this is our Halloween special.
And your hat is getting in my face, so piss off.
I don't care.
We've gone to a lot of effort today.
We have.
We turned up. That's all we've got at the moment. We turned up.
Hello, Dina. Hello, Cara. Hello, Joanne. Who else is here? Hold on. Let me put my finger up.
You have to excuse.
Oh,
No.
oh.
Oh, what are we doing then? We're trying to bring Gag on camera. Ooh, lucky Gag.
Hello, Leanne. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Do you think we should turn the lights on?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe? Okay.
Maybe. All right. Can you get to the lights from here because I'm trapped?
Hold on, everyone. Hold on to your witches' hats and we will be back.
Yes. For those who don't know, we had the Oz Paranormal Spiritual Expo this weekend. Oh. I can't see. Renata, you've been on the bomb again? I think you bonged up a little bit too much there, love. Holy shit balls.
I didn't realise. I had no idea.
Oh my god.
Do you want to turn our magic light on over there so people can
Although
actually
it's probably
see
just
us?
going to white us out because it's just all fog.
Yes, hold on.
I've got the button.
I'll fix my hat.
All right. Oh, yeah, so welcome. Wow, what a week it has been, ladies and gents and spirits and ghouls and don't forget the succubus and the incubus.
Suck your bitches. If you've been watching Sabrina, that was the best line so far.
I did. Yes,
in episode 1, the suck your bitches.
Yeah. And I have to admit, I've now continued to watch because I was
Shelley.
like, I couldn't help it, even though I'm pissed off with the whole. Let's say that the witches follow the Dark Lord Saturn.
They do, don't
yes,
they?
they do. Oh no, they do. All witches do. Absolutely, yes.
So we hope that you guys have had.
Whoa.
We hope that you guys have had a fabulous week. Did everyone?
I see you. I hear you.
Did everyone celebrate Halloween? That's the big question. We did. We've been celebrating Halloween for about a month, but this week was the penultimate of Halloweenness, that's a new word, for October. And so we have sort of just been going hard at it.
We have been going very hard at it. I've been going at it that hard that I'm sore. I can barely walk.
So we had a fabulous Halloween... Not our. We had a fabulous Halloween night at Q Station. And it went off.
Oh my god.
Absolutely off.
Wow. Yeah, Q Station was off its hoovy doozits. We tried something a little different. Basically, we said to those who came, and it was on Halloween night, it was on 31st, we said that since it is a pagan festival, that we were going to open up with a pagan ritual, or opening, and yeah, wow.
Yeah. Now, if there are any of you there that aren't quite sure of what the meaning of Halloween is
Is
it all...
It's like this fog ball wall behind us. It got up in smoke.
We're using a fog machine, by the way.
Really? Never would have guessed that in a million years.
We've gone to effort for you guys, so we hope it's much appreciated. But for any of you that aren't quite sure of the whole meaning of Halloween, other than running around people's neighbourhoods and
Eating
collecting
lollies.
Halloween stems from All Hallows Eve, which is a pagan day of celebration. It is part of the Wheel of the Year, if that is what you would like to call it, and it celebrates that stopping of everyone to come to the understanding that winter is coming.
Yes, Jon Snow, watch out.
Winter is coming and we better get our shit together, and we better also just think about those that have passed over at this point in time, and just give thanks and honour to those ancestors who are looking after us in spirit. And this particular night, which is a Northern Hemisphere thing, Southern Hemisphere has sort of adopted it because, geez, it's good for business. And
Was that Jesus is good for business?
yeah, Jesus is good for business. And yeah, so it's sort of that time when
I'm jealous,
they
Damo.
say that the veil between the worlds is thin. That's a veil there.
Right,
It's
okay,
thin.
I'm with you. I thought it would have been the veil between the worlds is thin.
Oh, shut up.
I don't know what
And,
she's doing.
and it's a curtain opening.
Oh,
So-
right.
Right, so can you
Do
get
we sing a
that?
song? Do we now go
Jeez.
one singular sensation? Every
And-
little move she makes.
the thing
I've got a
is-
dress on, by the way, everyone. I went and made effort here.
And the thing is that the spirits are able to be in our world more than at any other time of the year. So not only do children celebrate the fact that they can get oodles and oodles of candy or lollies, but those of the pagan persuasion do spend time to celebrate the fact that this is really the day of ancestor honouring. If you look and are associated with a number of sites from the Northern Hemisphere, you will see so many celebrations going on. And this time last year, I was actually in Edinburgh, on the Royal Mile, waiting for the big celebration that they have there, the Samhain celebration, to start. And it is a magnificent thing to see.
So it doesn't start on the 31st
Well,
of
it
October?
does. It does, yeah, sorry. But more or less this time last year.
We're
I
a
was
little
in-
brain
Sorry.
dead. It's been a big weekend. We're
I'm
just
talking
saying.
about 31st of October, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was over in Edinburgh and we were watching the Samhain celebration there, which is just outstanding. So they do big things over in the Northern Hemisphere. We do very little here other than going to the shops and buying kitschy clothing and going and getting lollies. Although we did entertain the kiddies.
Yes, I would like to
year.
talk about that.
We did entertain the kiddies. It was
Oh
lovely.
my god, this one, okay, she does some ghost tours out at Wollombi, which is a wonderful little town.
Hi, Sandy.
About
Hi, Michelle.
30 minutes out of Cessnock. Some very historical buildings out there, and a great community that support the walks and the ghost tours and all that sort of stuff. So she says to me, oh, I'm going to do something the day before Halloween for, the community out there, and I'm probably going to need some helping hands. Would you mind coming and helping me? And I went, yeah, sure, not a problem. Thinking, it's probably going to be a bit of a ghost sort of thing happening out there. And anyway, we get closer to it, and she's saying, oh, yeah, we've got about 15 kids booked in. I'm going, kids? Kids?
Yeah, kids.
Okay. And then it dawned on me, I said, am I meant to get dressed up for this?
Oh, yes, you are.
Then it turns out that we're entertaining the kiddies.
Yeah, we were.
But when we get there, we're spending 2 hours entertaining the kiddies.
And boy, that was exhausting.
I love children.
Yeah, and we did so well. We've been invited back next year.
God.
and,
Run!
and there could be double the amount of kiddies. We had 28 this year, 26, 28
28,
kiddies
yeah.
turn up.
Holy shite balls.
And that was a lot of kiddies. But
They were very well behaved going into the cemetery.
Yes, that's
I
when
was so
everything
impressed.
changed. We stopped them at the
They were feral up until then.
at the gates of the cemetery, and then we actually took time out to talk to them about Halloween and the real meaning behind Halloween. And as they walked into the cemetery, they all
Maybe
got
a paranormal society. Hello.
hello. They all got flowers, and the idea was to go and find a grave that had not been visited for a really long time, and maybe a grave where there were many, many children buried, because, of course, back then people had lots of children, and not all of them lived terribly long. And to just spend a moment at that particular gravesite and just honour that family, honour those family members by reading their names out and leaving a flower and saying a prayer, so offering up a little bit of their time. Will you stop with that?
I know. I think we're going under. One more.
Turn it off.
Oh, it's turned itself off. I broke the smoke machine.
And their whole demeanour changed.
Did.
They just became so wrapped up in this notion that there were children in the cemetery that were the same age as they were. And these kids were wandering around with lollies and sweets and doing wonderful things, and these other poor children had passed away, and a lot of them were very much forgotten because their families were no longer around, or their families had passed away. So
or moved out of the area.
Yeah, moved out of the area. So it was quite a difference.
It was a somber moment, but it wasn't sad.
No.
But it was a good realisation for the kiddies that sometimes, you know, it wasn't just all fun and games for children their age, and that, you know, they were coming up to say, oh, one of them died when they were only 4 years old, and one of them died when they were only 1.5. And, like, the parents were with them. Obviously, we just didn't let them loose in the cemetery. But it was a sort of a quality moment, a quality life moment.
That was really good.
Made all the kiddies realise you die.
Yeah, you do.
And sometimes when they're their age, they could die.
Yeah.
We're traumatised them forever.
So that was really good. And then
It
the
was.
next night we headed out to Q Station, and we did
Yes.
an investigation out at Q Station, which went off.
Yeah, so as I was mentioning at the start there, did I mention at the start, everything's a blur at the moment.
Yes, we did a ritual opening.
We did
and
a
that's
ritual
what
opening,
took
yes.
us back to the whole...
And also an acknowledgement of the original landowners, which I think is very important at Q Station, because it's very historically significant for the Aboriginal culture there as their sacred land.
Yeah.
So we did all of that, and had a great bunch of people. They were right into it, sold out. What were some of the things that went down?
Oh, we were getting a literal discussion through the SB11.
Oh, and I've videoed it, so I'm going to put it up eventually. Yeah.
Where we were actually talking to who we believed was one of the doctors that was at Q Station, and he was telling us how upset he was that he could not help everyone, that children were dying, and he was watching these children die, and that there was nothing that he could do. So there was this sense of real sadness about him, and we took our time speaking to him and sort of saying, you did as much as you could,
Yeah.
for sure. And
But when we paused, because we were so stunned at the conversation that we were having, we paused to ask to think what to ask next, and we'd get this speak. So they wanted to talk. And now, for those who brains mush, the people on the headphones can't hear us. They don't know what's going on. Right? All they're doing is saying what they can hear on the chat on the spirit box. So they didn't know we'd paused, and were trying to think of what to ask next. And when they got off, they were saying it was the same man's voice coming back every time.
And it was two different groups at two different times on the SB11, so they were both hearing this speak coming through. We just weren't talking fast enough that particular night, so that was quite interesting. We had some more interesting things happen down near the...
All the smoke's just gone straight up underneath your...
down...
the inhalation sheds.
Inhalation.
Inhalation.
Inhalation shed.
I feel like I'm starting to have an allergic reaction to this shit. Where's the...
And Open the door.
Open
the doors.
Well, I'll put on the aircon because I have aircon in here now.
And so that was really interesting as well, because that sort of took everything to another level that sort of is rarely reached. Rarely is the communication so intense
Smoke be gone.
over a long period of time during an investigation evening. Sometimes there are sporadic connections, but this was a quite intense evening throughout the whole evening, which was great. So next year, Anne, of course, and Roman will be back at Q doing Paranormal Investigator. So please, if you're interested, get in contact with Q Station and ask specifically for Paranormal Investigator with Oz Paratech. And there will probably be some sleepovers as well. So yeah.
We hope.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. It is a special event for the sleepover. They do offer the tour guide sleepover, which is called Spirit Searchers or something like that, but that's not us. It will actually have Oz Paratech in there so that you'll know which one is the right one.
And then what did we do this weekend?
You don't want to talk about the inhalation sheds?
No.
Why don't we talk about the inhalation
No, because
sheds?
they're just going to have to come and work that out when they're there.
Okay, well, we had K2s going nuts with something we were doing in the inhalation sheds. We're not going to tell you what it was.
No.
But that was the first time we actually laid them all out in a circle around us and doing our thing. And there's K2s spiking, there's people going everywhere and responding, and we're just going, holy moly. Anyway, what did we do this weekend, Renata?
Well, we went to Casula Power Station and took part in the fabulous Oz Paranormal and Psychic Expo.
Spiritual Expo.
Spiritual Expo.
With spiritual, not psychic.
Oh, spiritual Expo.
Run by the amazing Pete and her
Happy
awesome team of
Yeah.
Happy and volunteers. Always an amazing event where it is just run like clockwork, and we've met so many people, talked to so many people, got to finally meet people who, and the thing I loved is that they were coming up to us and going, we feel like we know you already because we watch you on the Paranormal Party podcast, and it made me think, people are actually watching! Ah, yes! And you had the same experience, didn't you?
Yeah, it was really great. Thank you all so very, very much for coming up to us and saying hi. We do listen to you every Sunday, which is just great. Thank you so very, very much, because, I mean, we could be just sitting here talking to the wall.
Yeah, we've got 14 people.
Yeah, we've got 14 people we're talking to right now, so yay. So that's really, really good. Excellent.
Now, what was your stand that you had at the expo this year?
Oh, I had a little bit of a witchy stand, and it was another thing that went off. It went off. So I had an opportunity to really showcase my seance perfumes that I have imported from America to sell. And they are just absolutely delicious.
Oh, they are.
So anyone
Crowley.
who bought
I'm still trying to get Crowley.
Anyone who bought perfume, please leave a comment and tell us how gorgeous it is. If not, you can actually get in contact with me and I can send you a list of what we have. But yeah, absolutely
and
delicious.
Conan, you've never bought any of the sales perfumes or even sniffed them, so you can just fuck off.
And so we did that, and then that wasn't enough. In the evening, we went back to Casula.
Yeah, Pete was awesome and invited us to come back to Casula that night for a ghost hunt.
Oh yeah. And that was really interesting. So there were 3 different experiences that were set up, and Anne and Roman and myself and Beth Darlington.
It was Anne and the others.
Yeah.
As you do. Thanks, Pete. I love you.
So yes. Excuse me.
Yeah, thanks.
They
for
were
that.
running
Cheers.
the SB11 experiment that they do with the headphones, and we were sort of doing that in the theatre room. So
that wasn't in the actual theatre. It was a performance space, I think they call it.
Oh yeah, performance space. That's right.
It was when you walk in. It's the first door to your right, and there's it's kind of sprung dance floor. I know that because it kept creaking every time we tried to walk. Yeah, so we did the SB11 experiment in there. Now, that was interesting in itself. We used the S box, sorry, not the SB11. I think Pete's group calls it blind calling, where you put on your headphones and listen to the spirit sweep. It's the same thing we're doing at Q Station. And look, I always have a theory about going to locations. We were new faces there. The regular haunts, so to speak, don't know us, and we're trying to communicate with them directly. So I think it takes a little while to build up the trust. I think the Appy team could probably get in there and communicate straight away, but it just takes a little bit of time for us. And we kicked off, and not a lot of intelligent responses through the box. So we got to round 2 and we decided to do something different there. What did we do? Can you remember enough?
Oh, we just sort of engaged them a little bit more and just...
We did an opening.
Yeah, had a moment where we sort of did an opening and actually invited in those that were still on the premises.
So instead of barging in like we did the first time, sit down, everyone, let's go, blah, blah, blah. No, we settled.
Hello, cats. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that sort of ramped it up a little bit.
Yeah, we started to get a couple of bits and pieces coming through that made more sense.
And then we had the third group come in, and each group was a 45 minute experience, yep. And with the third group, we
oh boy, did we have fun on that one, because we groped.
We ramped it up again, and so we gave them a focal point, and things seemed to change. The conversation, the way they engaged changed. The amount of conversation coming through the S-box changed. But remember, guys, this is now into the third 45 minutes. So that just gives you an idea of how long we've been sitting there using the S-box, trying to get communication through. So after 3 lots of 45 minutes, probably the last 10 minutes of that, the conversation really twisted around and became something that was very much understandable from the point of people talking to each other. Prior to that, it was a bit of gobbledygook or
random.
That sense of listening into somebody else's conversation. So
she's got a cauldron going bubbling behind her, so smoke is.
When you attempt to sit down and think that you might get a conversation through in the first 5 to 10 minutes, and then you go, oh, that's a load of shit, nothing's going on, you're really...
You sounded just like someone I know then.
You're really not giving it enough time, and you're not really doing it to the ultimate that it can be. This stuff needs patience, and it is something that needs to be repeated. So that
obviously 3 40-minute sessions is what needed to happen, because the connection that we got by the last session
it was good,
was really good. Now Renata came up with a really good idea, because we were sitting there and we were sort of addressing our questions like, so how old were you? And we weren't actually, like, if I said to Renata, so how old are you? I'd look her in the eyes and I'd make conversation. She came up with the idea to place a chair, an empty chair down, say, come join us, have a chair, sit down. So we then started to address the questions to the chair, even though it was an empty chair.
But was it?
Was it? Made all the difference in the world. All of a sudden, we're getting cheeky responses to the questions, and we had a medium there who had picked up the fact that there was a workman who was hanging around up the back, a deceased workman, spirit, sort of looking at us thinking we're all a pack of idiots, and quite amused by the whole thing that we were doing down there. And this, once we offered the chair, drew him down to come and sit with us. And that's when we got the responses. But then we heard an audible moan or a groan. Beth and Roman heard it. It was across to the side behind them. We thought it was Roman's guts at first, but no, it wasn't. And we realised that he had a friend there, so we invited that friend to come and sit down.
Yeah, so we pulled out another chair. There were 2 chairs there.
Yep.
And we were talking to both of them.
And sometimes they were having a communication between themselves.
Yeah. So that was a really interesting experiment, and we're going to work with that a little bit more in some of the other places that we go to, just because it's just something different to do.
And we'll bring you those results.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Maybe. Or should we keep it to ourselves?
Maybe you'll just have to come on one of the tours and find out.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
So, don't knock me bald.
So tonight's question is, do you use any type of methods to heighten your psychic abilities before you go on a ghost hunt? Do you believe that you're a sensitive? Do you believe you have any psychic abilities at all? And if so, how are you honing them? Is it just a natural process? Do you go out of your way to go on more and more investigations? So that you can experience more, which is always a valid way of trying to heighten your ability of communication. Do you just depend on the technical things that are available to you now, the gadgets, and don't worry about the psychic part of yourself at all? What do you do? Have you tried meditation? Have you tried any sort of divinatory methods that you might use? Are you a healer? Do you feel that any of those things add to your intuitive skills or not? So, let us know.
Now, and while they're thinking of that, just hang on to that, Renata.
Okay.
Hannah made some cupcakes with unicorn poop on top. If you lean that over to the camera, and
It's unicorn poop.
we thought Renata should eat one of these while we're going. So yes, Joanne, all three groups at Casula Powerhouse, all three groups saw a shadow figure up on the mezzanine level. Now, we didn't preempt people saying, oh, the last group saw this, that, or something else. People picked up on it.
That's good unicorn poo.
I know. I like to lick out the unicorn poo too. So we do. We think that's who it was because that medium was in the last group. And
This looks like one of your soaps, Sarah. Look.
it does. That's you can make that up as a unicorn. Look at the colour of the cake.
I know. Look at that.
It's bright blue and
I've got to eat
bright
that
pink and yellow. And Michelle, who knows what colour poop we'll be doing this week after eating this. This is the inside of the cake. Look at the colour. She's made up 3 different batters.
Thank you, Hannah.
Anyway, I do personally think the one that came down, it was a bit of a larrikin giving us the answers, and the last group was the one who came down and joined us. Anyway, so do we have meditation, says Susie. Choosing and playing music on the way to an event.
Oh, that's good.
I like that. I like that.
Christy, yes, it does make me immortal. So anyone who wants to be immortal, you must eat unicorn poo.
I can't make it scroll. I must have unicorn poop on my fingers or something.
So Napier Paranormal, what do you guys do?
Personally, I don't think I really do anything. I think about the venue as I'm driving to it and wondering what experiences we'll be having that night, and when I actually get to, like at Q Station, I'll do things like I'll knock on the door before I go in, just as a sign of respect to the spirits of the house, because it's their house, it's not my house. I'm visiting their zone, and I'll sort of introduce myself. But we've started to do this opening thing a lot more, and it's really made a difference to the activity. And it's not religious in any way. It's just an honouring and a respectfulness instead of, yeah, come on, let's investigate. Show us what you got, you pussy. Yeah. So what's the end?
Okay, Leanne says, developing medium here used to see when I was little, but now I use 3 of my 4 clairs, feeling, hearing and knowing, and seeing again, but scared.
Leanne's really cool because she's got, instead of a dog at her back doorstep, she has a baby lamb.
Oh yeah,
Guards the
beautiful
house.
baby
Very
lamb.
cute.
Oh,
They didn't eat it. I'm really pleased with that.
do say sup bitches when you introduce yourselves.
Oh yeah,
thanks,
yeah,
Sarah.
yeah. Stop, bitches. So it's got your pussy. Yes, Renata's got a mouthful of unicorn now.
So the thing I think that is useful is that when most people are actually trying to develop their psychic skills, they spend time focusing.
Focus. We should all focus. That's just for you, Bill. Jenny.
Focus.
Anyway.
And that is about being quiet.
Yes, Susie as well. Ask permission.
Ask permission, that's right. But what do you do to develop your skills? That's a question I'm asking. Do any of you do any meditation? Do any of you do any other psychic work beyond that moment of time where you are out investigating with a team?
I do now.
Is the investigation just all about shits and giggles and having a good time running around in the dark with a torch? Or are you looking at developing so that over time you become a better investigator? So 5 years ago, how would you have been investigating?
But
what is it like now?
I have to say, Renata, that there's also nothing wrong with going out as an investigator and just being in the moment and doing that without developing your psychic abilities if that's not your thing.
Yeah, but you're talking about just, let's have an argument. You're talking about being in the moment. Do people know how to be in the moment? Can they detach from mobile phones for 5 minutes to be in the moment, to be in that space without staring at something that has lights flashing?
So you mean like do a silent vigil in a location without any sort of electronic gadgetry?
Yes. Can you do that?
I do.
Is it possible?
Or
does it freak you out
investigation
to just be quiet and just to listen to a space?
You've got to know what the known sounds of a location is and the known feeling of what it's like and where the breezes are before you start investigating so that you can look for things that change while you're investigating. So,
So Napier Paranormal says, I haven't got any skills myself. You would be surprised at how many skills you have. Your body, as we always say, is the best tool that you have available to you.
I'm a tool.
It is attuned to feeling subtle energies. We feel those subtle energies all the time. We don't often pay attention to the cues that our body is giving us. So that's about feeling comfortable in a space or uncomfortable in a space, feeling agitated when you're around someone, picking up on whether an emotion is yours or somebody else's, because we're living from moment to moment to moment in such a quick succession that 10 minutes from now we have forgotten what we were doing 10 minutes ago.
Look, sadly for me, I'm starting to forget more than I can remember. And I don't think...
That's because you're getting old.
Oh, no, not as old as you.
Shut up. Shut up.
Yeah, Charmaine, that's something I do as well. Get there early and have a walk around the location and just say hello. I talk out loud to them. Maitland Jail, I'll walk into the block and I'll say, hi boys, how you going? How's the ladies upstairs? Kids, you going to come and play with us today? I'll say it out loud, and I sometimes feel like I'm a nutter. I don't do that when there's other people with me. I just do it when I'm by myself.
You're still not getting what I'm asking, though.
No, but that's what Charmaine's talking about.
We're asking about whether you actually do anything prior to investigations during the week. Do you do exercises? Imagine you're playing a violin. You don't pull the violin out just before a concert performance.
Oh.
You practice every day.
Okay, so let me throw this at you.
Do you practice prior to going out on ghost tours? Do you do anything to elevate your psychic skills?
Okay, so yes, we meditate at least 3 times a week. But are you just referring to psychic skills? Because also reading a book on the subject.
Observation skills.
Even learning your paranormal techniques is sitting quietly and working on your ability, but it's not working on psychic ability. So it depends when you're going to investigate. Are you going in as a psychic or are you going in to get scientific validation of what is going on around you?
Yeah, let's just use that scientific term very, very loosely at this
Oh,
point
I
in time.
know. That's a demon-loaded word, that one.
Another thing that you can look at improving on are your observation skills. What are you noticing as you're going around on your daily routine? What is there in front of your face and you may have never seen before, even though you pass it every day? How can you look at things more diligently? What are the colour of things? What are the size of letters, for example? What tree was over there 6 months ago and is now dead? What are you observing in your daily life? What about smells? What about looking at smells? Just
No, it's my face going red.
serious.
I'm worried if I'm
No.
having an allergic reaction to the fucking smoke.
what about
She's on a bandwagon.
smells? What about sitting there and looking at how your sense of smell is developing? That will always help when you're on a site, and you will be able to smell more intensely, or that sense will be heightened
Smells so
and will
bad
come
sometimes.
up to the fore when you're in
rises
an
up.
investigative space. What about that sense of feeling on your body, on your skin? Just being able to sit and to allow a space or the coolness or the heat of an area react to your skin and seeing what that feels like. All of these
The problem
are really
is we have
subtle.
short attention spans.
Well,
most
you've
of
got to
us.
bloody get over
And
that if you're going to be an investigator,
we're
okay?
like 2 seconds
Okay?
in, we're going, I've asked 3 questions, I'm bored now, nothing's happened.
Well, you just got to get
I'm
over
not
that.
talking about me personally, I'm saying this is what happens.
So the problem is that people go in with all these expectations that shit's going to hit the fan within 5 minutes of being in there,
There'll be a demon running down the hallway.
and they get really upset when nothing happens. But
1-star
have
review.
you given yourself an opportunity to tune in? Have you given yourself an opportunity to observe the site, see what is going on? Whether that dark shadow in the corner that you're seeing over there isn't actually a shadow that's coming off a light shade or something else, and a reflection is there, and you didn't notice it when
For
you walked
example,
in.
can I give you an example for that one?
You can.
Thank you. A lady showed me a photo that she had taken, and she'd taken a selfie of herself, and on the ground, I didn't use a flash or anything. On the ground behind her was a dark shadow shape. She thought that she had some sort of demonic force or something that was lurking near her.
An attachment.
And I said, was the light on in the other room? She said, yes. I said, it's your shadow.
Oops.
Yep. She wasn't observing. Wasn't observing.
Well, that's true. And that's the thing. You've got to get your mind and
Out of
your
the gutter.
eyes off the technical equipment just for a moment, and also spend time looking around your environment. Number one, so that you don't fall into a hole or a ditch or something and break a leg. But number two, so that you can see what else is around and observe the interactions of shadows and light and movement, so that if something does occur, you can tell whether it is out of place or whether it is something that would be normal for that particular site. So I guess what I'm getting at...
They're talking Napier Paranormal. I can't open up the comment at the moment. They're saying they could smell cigar smoke.
Interesting. So you'd have to know what a cigar smells like.
Oh, yes. And you have to know the difference between marijuana and cigars. So you have one of each and just work out what the different smells are. Purely research.
But if you have a team that you're working with, or developing a team of investigators that are going out to do investigations, consider getting together beyond your investigation nights and hold some nights where you're just playing games, doing the old kind of observation games. Remember the games that we used to have
Kreskin's ESP.
as kids, where you would put 10 items on a tray, cover the tray up, and then
Oh,
uncover
yeah.
it, and
That's a
people
good game.
get 20 seconds to look.
Yep.
And then you've got to cover the tray up again, and then you write down everything that you saw.
Yep. They used to do that at hens nights.
They're
and things.
really, really good observation games to keep your mind really active and sharp.
And spot the difference in the photo.
Yeah.
So
Spot the difference in the photo.
Yep.
Plant things to heighten your peripheral vision.
Or change things, get everyone into the room, look around the room, send them all out, change things around, get them to work out what's changed.
Yeah.
It's training the eye. It's surprising since I've been doing this sort of work, what I notice that the average person doesn't notice now. They'll say to me, "Oh, geez, you really notice stuff, don't you?" And I go, well, that's sort of what we trained ourselves to do, is to look for those minute changes and observational stuff.
It is really, really important as investigators. And look, you can pretend that you're being not a paranormal investigator, but a private eye, a detective, and you're trying to find out all the intricate details that might be pertaining to a murder. And you have to go in and find out all the different things that are going on that the normal person wouldn't pick up on, but you as a trained observer would. So you have to treat yourself in that way to be able to go into an investigation and look at things from all these different perspectives. And you would be surprised at how much you start to pick up and how much your investigations start to change. So this is all about not just looking at the newest tech gadget that comes in. Sorry, Anne.
Fuck off.
And buying it, because yes, you will. But what else can you incorporate into your investigation night? So the tools are really good, but maybe you can use the tools slightly differently.
Do you know what would be a good thing to do as a team?
Just slightly differently.
Just before you go to do your investigation, because everyone's really heightened, sit down as a group, put on
Like
say,
a profiler, yes,
5
Sharon.
minutes of meditation music. The guided ones drive me batty. I can't listen to it. Just 5 minutes where everyone sits down in the group, and it's almost like a melding where you blend your energies together and you all sit in that moment for 5 minutes and still your mind, ready to embrace whatever spirit throws at you.
And you can even try before and after. So if you're going into a site or into an area, go into an area where it's still light enough so that you can see your area, and go in before a meditation and check out everything that's there and ask your team, what did you see, how did you feel, what was it like? Then do a 5-minute meditation where you're all focusing in. Yep. And then go back and see if everyone has picked up on anything different, whether their emotions have changed, whether you're picking up on extra stuff.
I need to
Stop. So you could find that this all just adds to the group technique, and that's what it's all about. If you're going to go and do this, you want to learn, and this is an interesting way to do it.
I feel better now.
I mean, we're going to be doing workshops next year anyway.
We are, and I will be far more sensible than this.
So part of
Mostly.
what we will be doing, oh heaven help, you won't be, Anne. Just no, you won't. You won't be.
I've got to break up the sensibleness somehow or other.
But if you are interested in learning more, let us know.
And we're not saying we are the be-all and
No.
the end-all of paranormal investigators.
No.
We're just happy to teach what we've learned and give you
Suggestions.
Yeah. If you've got a blockage or something, we might be able to look at it and say, well, have you tried doing this, that and something else? Think of us as a laxative.
Okay, so.
And maybe you guys can teach us something as well.
Most definitely. I mean, we just came back from England and we certainly learnt a lot of new things.
We stole ideas. I mean, we've shared ideas with them.
So you learn from everyone, no matter how much you think you know, no matter how much experience you think you have. You'll always learn from somebody, even if it is... even if it is a new way of doing something. It's all trial and error, and if you do the same things in the same way every time you go out, you will only get the same results. And we all want to have some really great interactions. So if you have done something in your investigations that has really proven to be a fantastic idea, a fantastic idea. Hi, Sarah. I hope you're feeling better, my sweet. Let us know. The community in Australia, the paranormal community, really, really needs to share ideas so that we can all experience our investigations in a far better way.
You know what was cool last night? We had Beth from Access Paranormal, Roman and I from Oz Paratech, Renata from Newcastle Ghost Tours, Andrew from Shush Paranormal, Alison from Haunted Horizons,
And Pete and the Appy guys.
That was 6 teams. There might have been more than that. All there investigating together. It was unreal. It was so nice. No bitching, no nastiness, sharing ideas, going, oh, wow, that was a good idea. Oh, I'm going to try that. Spread the love, people. Spread the love, just like you do the smoke.
We could be all so much better off and have a greater standing in the paranormal community if we all work together, especially with overseas and what people do overseas there. There is no joy in creating division between us all. We can work better, and obviously the spirits that we are working with want us to work in that way as well. That's the thing. They get really shitted off if we're a bunch of just idiots and not working to actually try and promote a better knowledge of how to do all of this sort of stuff.
And trying to be the best we possibly can. Instead of just sitting in our own level that we're at, strive to improve. Sorry, there's messages coming through there. Comparison. I thought it was compassion there.
Comparison is
the thief of joy.
Oh, that's deep.
Wow, Lorna. Wow.
I like that, Lorna.
That's that. I have to go and sit and meditate on that. That's actually quite profound.
Yeah.
Where'd you hear that? Was it on a cornflakes packet?
Are all of you getting a headache from this?
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought it might have been the smoke.
By the way, if you go out and purchase one of these, that's actually an EM pump. So if you want to pump EM electro...
I just want to show you something, right? My room's been trashed because of the expo on the weekend, right? We're just going to put it over to there. You can still see the lamp. Yeah, we can see that. Now I'm going to turn my lamp off.
It's a ghost. It's a ghost.
So, yeah, that's the sort of field that is putting out that it's affecting my touch lamp all the way over there.
So, even having one of these in a room, pumping out all of that.
Just check that people don't have a...
pacemakers, because you can't use them with pacemakers.
Yes, it affects them.
This will eventually give you a massive headache.
Like it is now.
It is because of all of this energy that's being pumped out by this thing. So if you're trying to use this with a K2 meter, what you will find is the K... Oh, have you got a K2 meter?
Have you seen my room?
You can pull out?
Have you seen my room? There is boxes upon boxes upon...
If you have this on... Oh, Jesus. When you turn it off. Turn it off! No, I don't want music. If you have one of these and you turn the K2 meter on, it will just go red.
Fine.
It will just go red. That's how much energy it's putting out.
Damn you, Renata.
And this is a really good way of showing people how that can actually affect the brain, the mind. And yes, it will give you headaches.
Oh, I want to show people this too.
Okay, are we ready?
K2 meter.
Are we ready?
Hang on. Can we turn it off first?
Okay.
Okay, so here is the K2 meter. It is on. Now turn on the machine. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Massive field, right? Yeah?
That's a really good way of showing people how that
Now,
can... Yeah, it can make your hair stand on end.
Yeah.
But it's also a great way of showing how anything with that amount of energy going out into a room can cause physical stuff to happen within a person. So you can get headaches, you can get pains in the stomach, you can, at some point in time, even have hallucinations.
Just wanted to point out a little bit of something on the bottom of that K2 there.
Oh, what is that?
I know, right? You haven't seen that before, have you? Now, Sean from Ghost Top has created a clip for the K2. So it goes on to the end, it screws into place, and then you can hook it onto your belt. Or, better still, you can stand it upright, and that way you can see it better, and you can put it into a tripod.
Oh,
Have
how
it
clever.
around the room with tripods. So they're available on the Oz Paratech store.
Yeah, how much are they?
I think they're $30. They're not cheap because they're all been printed on his 3D printer.
Okay.
Now, just everyone be aware with 3D printer stuff. It's the handmade stuff. It's not mass produced. Don't leave it in hot areas because it will warp and melt and things like that. So I know the rooks are made from the 3D printers and several other paranology stuff as well. So just be aware to keep them in a nice cool environment. It's better for your electronics anyway.
Yeah, Sharon, you can buy the K2 meters from her
From me.
at Oz Paratech.
We sell the original K2s that are from DAS. It's not the Chinese copies. Yes, you can buy them on those dreadful Chinese websites, much cheaper, but they're shit. Right? It's not the same thing. Don't. Just because a Daihatsu Charade got a Mercedes badge on it does not make it a Mercedes. That was a bit profound, wasn't
My Hyundai had a compressor
I know.
badge on it.
it? That's why I used that example.
We bought it.
They dug
We
it
bought
on.
it on eBay.
Did it make it go faster?
I did.
I know, right? And
did.
it had a crash.
Shut up. It wasn't my fault. It was not my fault. Anyway.
Can we give a little bit of a shout out
Oh,
to
okay.
Suncatchers by Joy?
Yes.
Up in the Blue Mountains. We stopped in and met her on the way up.
Hello, Andrew.
So look up on the Facebook page, Suncatchers by Joy, and she makes lots of really nice jewellery and things and bits and bobs and sun catchers and lovely, lovely lady. So,
Yeah, and she probably goes through a fair amount of the fairs that are around the Blue Mountains area.
Jodie.
So you can catch up with her there. What have we got coming up next? We still have tickets for the next Maitland Jail
Oh, do we?
4-hour paranormal evening.
Oh my God!
So-
you guys are really lucky. I would be snapping them up right now.
If you wish to come along, that's later on this month. There are still a few tickets left for that. We have 2 tickets left for the Bruff and Grosman House night. And we had a lady who was emailing me madly about buying those for her 2 friends, and they haven't been bought. So there are 2 tickets left for that. Yeah,
Is that the night that I'm at Maitland Jail?
no.
No, that's different.
No,
night.
no. Richmond Vale.
Oh no, I'm at Q Station
yeah.
that night.
Richmond Vale we have cancelled because we just have not sold enough tickets, and unfortunately I do have to cover costs out there, and I'm not even coming close to covering costs, so I've had to cancel that evening.
It surprises me that we're not getting a great deal of people interested in that site, because we've had some amazing phenomena
Bill.
happen out there, and the SLS X-Cam picking up that child that was climbing up onto the seat, and then an adult popped up and
in the haunted
carriages,
train carriage, yeah.
Look, you've got a mine shaft there, you've got the hospital room where the miners who were injured were brought up, you've also got the Rothbury riots in the area. It is such an amazing area. I don't know why people aren't jumping on those tickets.
Yeah.
Next year.
Next year we'll have a couple more Richmond Vale evenings, so hang out for those. We've also got Tomago House coming back on to our list, and we will have an overnighter fairly early in the year for Tomago House. So if you're keen,
And can we tell them the Maitland Jail sleepover date?
yes,
Right, we have organised another sleepover at Maitland Jail, and we have organised it for the long weekend in June. That gives those people who are travelling from a distance a chance to get there. So it will actually kick off quite late, probably about 11 o'clock at night, or 10:30 or 11. I'm not sure. We'll sort that out later, and go through till 8 o'clock the next morning. So it is the Friday of the June long weekend, and we are going to organise another investigation for the Saturday night. It won't be a sleepover the Saturday night because we won't cope with doing a sleepover on the Saturday night. We will announce that location once it's locked in. But we also now have the opportunity, we've got some stretcher beds, so if anyone needs a stretcher bed, you can hire that for $20 for the night. So that's at Maitland Joe. You just need to let me know in advance and I'll make sure I pack them in for you.
Now, if you're a paranormal team and you want to do a private tour at Maitland Jail, 15 is the minimum. So you either pay for 15 people or you grab 15 people to come along, but you can actually do a private tour. We've got a few privates coming up before Christmas.
Yeah.
But we can then be one-on-one with you guys and give you some...
we can
great
work
tips,
with you,
yeah.
or if you want just quiet time on your own, you can do that. But we've also got our equipment that you can work with us. We will, because some of the equipment's worth a couple $1,000 each item, so we will work with you on those particular ones. But we will be very quiet and respectful and follow whatever lead
you want to do.
take.
Yeah, and the same with Q Station.
Yep.
And also we're going to be offering that at Miss Porter's house next year. So Miss Porter's house is going to change a little bit, and the focus on Miss Porter's house is going to be much more about groups, small groups coming in and really learning.
And Oz Paratech will be offering a special night. We're going to do one to see how it goes. So we will run it with Renata, but Oz Paratech will lead it that night. So we'll give you those dates. We've our calendar for next year is
Full.
We've got a couple of weekends. Bill, we've got to send you some dates.
Yeah. Oh, and we just might be going to New Zealand. Maybe.
Please, Mummy. We need to win lotto.
But our first trip is to Tassie. That will be in February, end of February. So we will be announcing those dates to Charmaine in Tasmania
she
shortly.
knows the dates.
Yeah.
We're going to book the flights tonight, possibly.
And if anybody from Tassie wants to come and do some workshops. And
we'll be running a workshop through the day. Beth Darlington, Renata and myself will run a workshop each. And then there will be an investigation on the Saturday night and possibly the Friday night, which will be run by Charmaine's team, Tasmania's Most Haunted, and we will be there with them, hanging out and doing whatever they want us to do, those particular things. And so come learn, share knowledge, and it's an hour, Renata. I'm going to fall off my perch.
Yeah.
Been a big weekend. Been a big week, damn it.
Hi, Charmaine!
There she is! Hello!
Are you excited? We're coming down.
Oh, we're going down, Barbie.
Down there to Tasmania.
And look, anyone who wants to come join us, you are more than welcome.
You're just going to pay for your own shit, okay?
You book your own flights and book your own accommodation and book your own car hire, and then come and join us. Just like Christy is. Or is it Kirsty? I can't remember. Christy or Kirsty?
And we'll also be doing Queensland, and we'll also be doing Melbourne.
Yes.
So
we have another little venture which we might announce a little bit later. It hasn't quite finished getting it all together yet. We've got to work out all the finer details, but it should be.
Too much excitement watching UFC. What's UFC, Grant? Too much excitement watching UFC this Arvo.
He's not calling us you fucking cut.
No. I know. Children may be watching this.
I know, so I didn't say it.
Children may be watching
And Grant's got a few little secrets up his sleeve that might be happening with us as well.
Oh,
so.
yeah!
So anyway, we're going to sign off for tonight because we've had enough. We've hang on.
Bring on that shit.
Yeah, and
You'll see us disappear.
Let's put this back on. We've got our music playing. Head over to Secret Witch Business the Seance Parlour,
Paranormal
the
Party Podcast.
Paranormal Potty Pod.
Oz Paratech,
Oz
Newcastle
Paratech.
Ghost Tours. Oh my lord.
Yeah, just head over there and like us, and we're going to disappear into the smoke now. So, love to you all.